Hello.
Welcome
To
the Emotionally Unavailable podcast. We're here to help you cry.
we're not helping them cry.
Okay. Embrace your.
Vulnerability.
In all seriousness, we're here because we noticed a trend where all of us are doom scrolling our lives away. And there are things that we feel in the middle of the darkness that we don't really get to talk about. And it's things like loneliness or friendship or belonging or just navigating growing up and living in the world. And we're all just trying to understand and cope. And we just want to help you make a little more sense of that because it looks like there's no gravity. It just looks like, the bad guy. I feel like, though, we can talk about MoodRoom.
What's that thing? What's MoodRoom?
Ah, I'm so happy you asked. The whole reason why everything started was a long, long time ago, about a year ago. I was sad, and that sadness turned into a thing that tore out all the color in my life. And it wasn't until I started to come into this world where people were kind and loving and understood that I had dreams that had kind of died, but that could be restored, that I started trying to help people the way that I couldn't help myself. And that's how I started thinking about, how do I make the world a little less painful and feel a little more possible, full of potential, And then that's when I met Nya over here, and we just, I don't know, she's put so much faith and love and heart into my dreams, and they have slowly become her dreams and our whole team's dreams as well. And everyone we've spoken to has seen the power of what it means to open up your soul and be okay with the idea of failure and the idea of going after something, even if it's elusive and not quite done before or difficult, or there's so much uncertainty, right? Like, for those who don't know, we're basically building a cozy game, but with stories of going through the darkness and finding yourself. So, long story short, that's all to say, we, outside of building an app and a game and talking to investors and trying to juggle the day-to-day chaos of starting a venture, we also just wanted to chill out and hang out with you and talk about the real side of being human and being a person and some of the emotions that we go through and everyone goes through, and make it more okay to feel all of them. Because what would we be, hypocrites if we built something about emotions but couldn't also articulate them, So here we are.
At our first podcast episode.
Yes. We don't want this to just be look how amazing the world is. But also just no, the world can be really scary sometimes. And the days and the nights and all the in-betweens can be really hard. But you're not alone.
It's going to be okay.
We want to get to know you too. So if you have ideas for things that you want us to talk about, or things that you're personally going through, or just a friend to listen to, we're here. And we want you to know that you're not alone. And we're going to talk about all the things that maybe we don't get to talk about normally,
There will be more episodes coming where we talk about our different emotions, how we process those, and what we learn from it.
And I realized that even though I didn't document every single day of last year to now, where I was learning how to build something, the lesson was not just building MoodRoom, but it's also how to build my life. And I'm really excited to be able to share a lot of the things I learned along the way, because I feel like I really did transform my life, and I've learned a lot from people like Nya and mentors and the team. And I really want to share that with anyone who will listen, because I'm okay, if I can turn my life around before hitting the cliff, I think you can too. Like, if I can do it, you for sure can do it. Are you speechless?
I mean, it was a very beautiful thing.
Oh, thank
Can
you.
U-turn before you hit the cliff.
I mean, that was a little bit graphic too. I hope we don't.
I like graphic.
I hope that you got to know us a little more. Oh, do you want to introduce yourself more? Because I gave like a very heartfelt wedding speech about who I am. But do you also want to introduce yourself?
Heartfelt wedding speech.
Yes. Now the father-in-law will say a few words.
You know, I've never imagined myself getting involved anything related to mental health. I grew up in like a small town in Vietnam where people don't talk about emotion a lot. They just ignored it, or you have to become strong enough that you don't get those weak emotion conquer you. And then my whole life it was like mostly like it was like happy all the time. So I find myself lying here and seeing like, how did I end up here? How did I end up here? Huh.
You met me, I met you.
You share with me where you were and what you want to accomplish, where you wanted to be, and I am blown away with that.
Oh, thank you.
My
heart.
And the way that we envision MoodRoom is so big and beautiful that I would feel like I would waste my time doing anything else but not MoodRoom.
A tear. So beautiful. I agree so much. I can't imagine doing anything but this. Like, I always think about the world and everything you can do in it. And I always am so astonished by how you can possibly choose to do something with your life that isn't the most it can be, that isn't giving back or going after something that you just see in your... Yeah, exactly. And like something that you can't see in your dreams and know that this needs to exist in the world. And then when you go after the thing that you see in your mind and you make it exist, that is one of the most beautiful feelings I've ever experienced. And seeing the people who get to see it as well, like, if that even makes sense, but like, you know, like it just, that changes the world, is when all you see is, and all you live in is darkness. But if you can see that little light inside of you and you can share it with someone and you can look into their eyes and you see that same light, that is, I think, what keeps me going. And it keeps me up at night dreaming and planning and scheming and plotting. Because, you know, like, what else would the world be if not the things that people thought of? Like, for someone to build something, someone first has to think of it. And someone has to be able to think of it so clearly that they can articulate what it is that they saw. And then someone else is like, oh, that's amazing. Like, we have to have that happen. And then we figure out from the ingenuity of the human species how to actually make it happen. You know, it's like the what and the why and then the how. And nothing is like too big or too crazy or too weird. Like, that's I think what is so powerful about being able to think of something and then figure out how to make it happen. And that's what you can do with your life. And all of the feelings that don't always feel good is like, okay, yeah, like they exist, but then what am I going to do with them now? Bro, did you just get a notification? Can someone help me out? You know what? See you next time.